You know, the ACC Championship has really lost a lot of its luster over the last few weeks. First, Jordan Travis went down with that season-ending injury against North Alabama, an injury that was devastating and heartbreaking to watch and devastating and heartbreaking for Florida State fans. Then Louisville last week decided to lose at home to Kentucky, which now prevented the ACC Championship from being a top 10 showdown. But even though all those things are at play, even though it's no longer a top 10 showdown, even though Florida State's going to be playing with a backup quarterback, this is still a massive, massive game, at least for the Seminoles, because a win for them over Louisville will put them into the college football playoff. There's no way you can leave out an undefeated Florida State ACC champion out of the Final Four. So win, and you're in for Florida State. Louisville, though, looking to play spoiler to win the ACC and to make a New Year's Six bowl game for the first time under Jeff Brom. First-year head coach Jeff Brom going to get him to a New Year's Six bowl game. So what's going to happen in Charlotte? Massive ACC title game, even though it maybe isn't exactly what we hope for. Well, we're going to break it all down for you right now. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks and especially our holiday special, where for just $34.99, you will get every single conference championship spread pick, every single college football bowl game spread pick, and every single NFL playoff game spread pick for just $34.99. We're hitting over 60% of our bets this year. We're hitting over 60% of our postseason bets each of the last 5 years. No other site's going to offer you a price this low, and no other site's going to give you guaranteed winnings and records like we have. So if you want to be a part of something special and you want to win big this holiday season, Gridiron Expert's the place to be. The link down in the description below. So let's take a look at this game. Let's break it down, all right? Start on offense. We'll start with Louisville, who does not have an injured quarterback. This is an offense for Louisville that has really seen I'd say, improvement from last year. They weren't bad last year, but Jeff Brom, an offensive mind, has worked wonders with his offense. 440 yards per game, and they're balanced. 255 passing yards per game, 185 rushing yards per game, averaging 33 points per game. Jack Plummer was with Jeff Brom at Purdue, then transferred to California, then reunited with him at Louisville, has thrown for nearly 3,000 yards and 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Jawhar Jordan has been phenomenal this year, over 1,000 yards on the season, but he has not had a 100-yard rushing game in 4 straight games. So it was kind of hot midway through the year, kind of fallen off a little bit over the last month or so. And really, Jawhar Jordan is the key to this offense. He's got to get going if Louisville wants a shot to beat and upset Florida State. He's got to get the ground game going. This is an offense, guys, that's good. They're efficient. They're balanced, but they've lost 2 games, right? You see where I'm going with this. They've lost 2 games. They lost to Pittsburgh. They lost to Kentucky. What is the common theme in the 2 losses that they've had? It's been turnovers. It's been turnovers. In the 2 losses, they've had 3 turnovers in each of those games. They lost by 17 points to Pittsburgh. The Panthers had 14 points off of turnovers. They had 3 turnovers against Kentucky. The Wildcats had 10 points off of those turnovers and also added in a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So just stupid mistakes, inability to take care of the ball is what has doomed Louisville this year, and they've got to be careful to not let that happen this time around against a good Florida State defense. The Seminoles, you look at their offense, obviously it looks a lot different. I feel like for a lot of people this would be a no-brainer. Pick Florida State and move on with your life if Jordan Travis was still quarterback. And it's heartbreaking to see his career end the way that it did. But it's the Tate Rodemaker show. You've got to believe in Tate Rodemaker to get your team to the playoff and maybe get your team to a national championship. Who knows? This is a guy that last week in the swamp against Florida went 12 of 25 for 134 yards, did what he needed to do, did what he had to do to get Florida State the win in the swamp and help lead the team back from a 12-0 deficit late in the second quarter. This is a team that's averaging 156 rushing yards per game, and you know they're going to lean heavily on the ground game, led by Trey Benson, who has 868 yards and 14 touchdowns on the year. Florida State has a plethora, a dominant core of pass catchers, 3 of them with over 500 yards on the year, and Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, and Jaheim Bell. This is a team that, again, just went on the road and beat Florida by 9 and survived that game with just 224 yards of offense. We talked about it going into the Florida game, what Florida State had to do, not just to win in the swamp, but maybe for the remainder of the year. They're going to have to rely on the ground game, and they're going to have to rely on their defense. And last week, they won through the ground game. They won through the defense and Florida mistakes, costly Florida penalties, 2 missed Florida field goals, and a big Florida interception late in the game. You look at Florida State's defense now. That's what they're going to have to do to beat Louisville. They're going to have to create takeaways. They're going to have to capitalize off the Cardinals' mistakes, which has been the Cardinals' downfall in their 2 losses this year. And this Florida State defense is no slouch, right? 38 sacks on the season. They forced 16 turnovers on the year. Louisville's offensive line, shaky at times, allowed 22 sacks so far. And if I'm Florida State, if I'm Mike Norvell, I'm saying let's dial up some pressure. Let's go after Jack Plummer, who has issues holding on to the football, who has issues taking really good care of the ball. 11 interceptions already on the year. This secondary for Florida State is strong. They're 10th in the country against the pass, allowing just 175 passing yards per game. So right now, I really don't see Louisville being able to just destroy Florida State secondary. I don't see them really exploiting Florida State secondary. If they want to win the game, they're going to have to win it with Gerard Jordan. They're going to have to win it on the ground, and they're going up against a Florida State defense that gives up just 140 rushing yards per game. So again, this is a team, guys, that I feel like has been counted out, but they have all the pieces necessary to still win this ACC championship game. But defensively, to win it, they're going to have to capitalize on the Louisville mistakes. They're going to have to force them, and they're going to have to create pressure on Plummer, which, again, Florida State has not had issue creating pressure. 38 sacks on the year, 6 of those coming last week against the Gators. Louisville's defense, that's been a strength. It was a strength last year. It's been a strength this year for the most part. They're 19th overall in total defense, and they're 12th versus the run, with allowing just 97 rushing yards per game. That's the key, right? If Louisville can bottle up the Florida State run game and force them to be one-dimensional through the pass, they've got an excellent shot at pulling off the upset and ruining the Seminoles' playoff hopes. A great shot. If you go in there and force Tate Rodemaker to win the game solely through the air, you've got a great shot to win this game. You really do. Ironically, last year, these two teams met each other. Jordan Travis got hurt in the game. Tate Rodemaker came in and actually led the Seminoles to a victory on the road against the Cardinals, going 6 for 10 for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Rodemaker has a little experience against the Cardinals. We've seen them in this situation before, but obviously the stakes and the timing and the teams were obviously very different. Everything can change in the span of a year. But you look at Louisville's defense again. They have 30 sacks on the year. They have forced 12 interceptions on the year. So if you can force Florida State to become one-dimensional, you have an excellent chance to pull off the upset. Against Kentucky last week, the Cardinals allowed just 289 yards of offense, 206 through the air, only 83 on the ground. Again, Kentucky had 17 points off of special teams and turnovers. That really wasn't Louisville's defensive fault. That wasn't their fault that the special teams gave up a 100-yard return. It wasn't their fault that Kentucky had favorable field position following turnovers committed by the offense. So the defense is going to have to keep Louisville in this game, and they're going to have to do that by bottling up Trey Benson and this rushing attack. So what's going to happen, guys? In Charlotte, Florida State wins, they're in. If they lose, they're out. We've got some potential chaos on Selection Sunday, and Louisville finishes the year at 11-2 and heads off to a New Year's Six Bowl game. What a year for Jeff Brom, who, also, interesting stat, is playing in a conference championship game in back-to-back years with 2 different teams. Keep in mind, he had Purdue in the Big Ten championship just last season. But you look at this game, I think this game will be relatively close because of all the unknowns. Because of the unknown of Tate Rodemaker, because of the unknown with Louisville and whether or not they're going to be able to take care of the football. I want to know what Louisville is going to act like after a loss. They're no longer a top 10 team. If they had won against Kentucky and then upset Florida State, they may have had a very slim chance at the college football playoff if all hell had broken loose on Championship Saturday. So how does Louisville rebound after a crushing home loss? How does Florida State feel after getting a game under their belt with Tate Rodemaker without Jordan Travis? Ultimately, guys, Florida State, to me, is the better team across the board. I think they can win this game through their defense. I think the offense is going to come out and play well. And I think Tate Rodemaker, I think they're going to give him a little more ability to throw the ball. I think after getting a win under his belt in the Swamp, they're not going to hold back with him. They're going to say, go out there and sling it, man. If we want to win a championship, if we want to get to the promised land, you're going to have to get us there. And we can't play conservatively over these next couple of weeks. We got to go out there and throw. We got to let you be the quarterback of this team. I think Florida State still owns the talent edge. Additionally, Louisville, guys, not nearly as good away from home as they are at home. They're allowing 25.4 points per game away from home and winning those games by just an average of 5.5 points per game as compared to home games for the Cardinals where they're allowing just 16.1 points per game and winning by an average of 26.3 points per game. So again, there's about almost a 10-point differential in points per game when Louisville's at home versus on the road. This is a neutral site game, but it's still not a true home game for the Cardinals. They have struggled from that. So give me Florida State to win this game. They survived against the Cardinals, and as we say, it's just survive and advance, and that's what they'll do. They'll survive, and they will advance to the college football playoff for the first time since, 2014? Since the year it began, Florida State will be back in the college football playoff, and Tade Roadmaker will be the one to try to lead the Seminoles to the promised land. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks and that holiday special. No other site in the country is offering those picks for that low of a price. It's our gift to you. Go sign up, take advantage of those picks, win big with us today. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.